All right, so welcome to the deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're going to look at the world around us,
Okay.
but not like just, any regular look.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see if we can read the world.
Ah.
Like a book, like it's filled with messages,
Yeah.
straight from the divine.
Interesting, yeah. This idea that the natural world itself is like talking to us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Giving us like insights
Giving us this
into God.
yeah, into the nature of God.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because this idea pops up all over in different faiths.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this article here, and it talks about Said Nursi,
Okay.
who is a Muslim scholar
Mm-hmm.
from the early 20th century. And it compares his ideas to those of Pope Francis
Yo, wow.
and Pope John Paul II.
Okay, so like an interfaith. Look
Yeah.
at this.
Yeah.
That's right. So Said Nursi, he calls this the supreme sign
Okay.
in his one of his big works, Risale-i.
Okay.
And it's this idea that creation itself, right,
Yeah.
is a testament to God.
To God's existence.
An existence, an
Yeah.
attribute. Exactly, and it's not just,
Not just about admiring nature,
right. Well, I mean,
which I love to do.
of course, I mean, that's part of it.
But it's more than that.
There's a deeper
Yeah.
meaning, like, kind of woven into it.
It's like nature is speaking to us, but we don't know the language.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're surrounded by this,
Yeah.
cosmic library.
Ooh.
But the books are written in a language that we need to,
We need to learn it.
yeah.
So how do we even, decipher
Yeah, where do we even start?
these messages?
Right,
Where do we
right.
begin?
So, Nursi, along with other thinkers, they say that tafakkur
Okay.
is key. It's this deep contemplative reflection
Mhm.
on the world around us.
So it's not just like going on a nature walk
Right. It's more than that.
and enjoying the scenery. It's more about
Engaging with it.
engaging, and trying to understand
Yeah.
the deeper meaning behind it.
Asking yourself, what can I learn about God from the wind, from the cycle of, plant life,
Right.
from the night sky?
It seems like Nursi was really good at this.
He was, yeah.
He was a master at reading these messages.
Absolutely.
The article mentions all these analogies he uses to describe the earth
Oh, yeah.
and its purpose. Like he compares it to a luxurious hotel,
Mm-hmm.
a banquet,
A military base.
a military base.
A classroom. He uses all these different,
Yeah.
metaphors.
So they all point to the same thing, right?
Yeah, God's care for creation.
So like the hotel is about hospitality,
Yeah.
and the banquet is about abundance,
Mm-hmm.
and the military base is about protection.
Exactly.
He was really trying to show all the different facets.
Yeah, the different ways that
God's care.
God cares.
Yeah.
He goes even further, too, though.
Oh, really?
He says we should see this care not only in, the big picture, but in the smallest details.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so he spends a lot of time talking about the Earth's atmosphere. He even says that complaining about the weather is like insulting God.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, because he saw the wind and the rain and the clouds
Oh.
all as servants of God.
Each doing their job.
Exactly right, bringing heat, light, nourishing the plants.
Instead of complaining about a rainy day,
Mm-hmm.
I should be thanking that cloud for doing what it's supposed to.
That's a great way to look at it, yeah.
That's a much better way to look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
He backs this up, too, with a verse from the Quran that says, "There is nothing that does not celebrate his praise,
Mm.
but you do not understand their praise."
So it's like everything is constantly singing God's praises,
That's a great way to put it.
but we're too busy to even notice.
Exactly. We're not tuned in.
Yeah.
And this brings us to one of the most striking examples that Nursi talks about, the cosmos.
Okay.
He was clearly captivated by, space.
Yeah, the vastness of
The
space.
planets, the stars.
It's funny, though, because with all of our scientific advancements,
Right.
you think that sense of awe and wonder would, diminish?
You would think so.
But I feel like he would say the opposite.
He would absolutely say that the more we learn through science,
Yeah.
the more amazing
Yeah.
God's creative power becomes.
Yeah, it's not about choosing between science and faith.
Right. It's about using science to actually enhance
Yeah,
our appreciation.
like a tool.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing the hand of God in physics, in the universe, in life itself.
So we went from a raindrop to the vastness of space. What other natural wonders did he talk about?
Well, he talks a lot about mountains, for example.
Mountains, okay.
He doesn't just see them as, beautiful landscapes.
Right.
He sees them as being essential
Oh, okay.
to the Earth's equilibrium.
He compares them to pressure valves, right?
Exactly.
Releasing those forces.
Yeah, that could cause earthquakes.
It's like they have a purpose beyond their beauty.
Right, beauty and purpose intertwined.
Yeah.
And he even compares the Earth's movement around the sun to, this might surprise you,
Okay.
whirling Mevlevi dervishes.
Whirling dervishes.
Yeah.
I'm picturing the earth just like
Right.
spinning gracefully around the sun.
In this cosmic dance.
But then he also compares it to something a little more
Down to earth.
down to earth, yeah.
He also compares it to a giant ocean liner
Oh.
carrying us safely through space.
So he's got this mystical image and this practical image
Yeah, and I think he's trying to show us
showing us two sides.
that God's care encompasses all of it,
Yeah.
the spiritual and the practical.
And he doesn't stop there.
He doesn't stop
Here
there.
it goes even further to the plant and animal kingdoms.
Yeah, and that's where things get even more interesting.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that,
You're okay.
let's recap what we've learned so far. Okay, so we've seen how Said Nursi wants us to view the world as this like a supreme sign,
Mm-hmm.
right? Filled with all these messages.
Yeah.
From God and from the cosmos to the earth. You know, he's showing us God's power, care, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think what's so cool is how he takes these everyday things, you know,
Right.
like wind or rain, and uses them to make these really profound points.
Exactly. He wants us to pay attention.
Yeah, like, hey, there's more going on here
There's more to it.
than you realize.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where his observations about plants and animals
Okay.
gets really interesting.
Cool.
He was really captivated by the miracle of springtime.
Yeah, he talks about that in the article, about these
The seed.
these tiny seeds that like burst forth with new life.
He saw this as a sign of resurrection.
Oh, wow.
Right. Like even in death, there's this potential for
Oh,
renewal,
New life.
new life. And he connects this to our hope for life after death.
So it's not just about appreciating like the beauty of a flower, right?
Right. It's about the deeper meaning.
It's more about what
Yeah.
it represents.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really beautiful.
And this brings us to another key point of Nursi's thought,
Okay.
which is that creation shows us not just God's power, but his wisdom too.
Okay, so how does he show us that?
Well, remember all those different metaphors he used for the earth?
Yeah, the hotel, the banquet, the military base.
Right. Let's focus on that banquet image for a second.
Okay.
When he compares the earth to a giant banquet table.
Yeah.
It's like
filled with all this food.
Right, and he's emphasizing God's provision, right?
Okay.
We have all these different foods,
Of much variety.
flavors, textures, all designed to nourish us.
And it's not just about the food, right?
It's about the order, the structure of it.
Yeah.
This banquet's not just a random, hodgepodge of dishes.
Yeah.
It's carefully planned out.
So organized.
Every element has its place.
Its purpose.
This reflects God's wisdom.
Okay, so the banquet shows abundance
And wisdom.
and wisdom.
Yeah.
What other insights did he get from nature?
Well, he talks about mountains.
Mountains, okay.
He saw them as playing this vital role
Right.
in the Earth's balance,
He compares them to like pressure valves.
Exactly.
Releasing those forces.
That could cause earthquakes.
So it's like they have a function
Function beyond beauty.
beyond just the beauty.
Exactly.
And he applies that same principle to other things,
But
right?
the other parts of nature.
Like the wind, the rain.
Right. He describes the wind as like
A servant of God.
doing its job.
Carrying out those specific tasks.
Yeah, it's like, he's trying to help us see
Yeah.
that there are these unseen forces at work all around us, and they're guided.
Guided by a higher power.
Yeah.
But are we listening?
That's the question.
We're surrounded by these messages.
Right. But we're so distracted.
Yeah, we're not really paying attention.
What would it take for us to actually start listening?
I don't know. Maybe we need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Pay
To
attention
the details.
To the details, yeah.
Cultivate a sense of wonder. Yeah.
Remember that even the mundane stuff has a purpose.
Yeah.
Like that cycle of life and death we talked about.
Right.
Remember, the plants.
Yeah.
Nursi saw that as a message of hope.
Okay.
That even in death, there's potential.
There's potential for more.
For renewal, right.
Yeah.
And this is where this article connects these ideas to some Christian thinkers.
Okay.
People like St. Bonaventure and Pope John Paul II.
They talk about this too.
Yeah, they emphasize this idea of creation as a book.
It's interesting to see how this idea pops up.
across different traditions.
Different faiths.
Like everyone's looking at the same book,
yeah.
but maybe interpreting it in different ways.
But still drawing inspiration from it.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
And this shared exploration.
Yeah.
This is something Nursi really valued.
Mm-hmm.
He saw it as part of our journey to God.
To God, yeah.
Okay, so we've got, the prophets, the scholars guiding us.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we as individuals fit into all of this?
Yeah. That's where tafakkur comes back in.
Okay.
Remember, it's not just about passively watching nature.
Right. We have to actively
engage
with it, reflect on it.
Ask questions.
Ask questions, yeah. What is God trying to tell me through this?
So it's like we're having this conversation with creation.
Exactly.
A dialogue.
A dialogue with the divine.
It's subtle.
It's subtle, yeah.
You really have to listen.
You have to pay attention.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating that sense of wonder, that curiosity, that openness to the messages.
That are all around us.
Yeah, they might come through a mountain range, a flower, a cloud.
Nursi seemed to find them everywhere.
He did, yeah.
From the stars to the plants.
It's like he was tuned into this frequency that we're missing.
Yeah, like he had this special ability.
Yeah, he was attuned to that language.
The language of creation.
The whispers of the divine.
It makes me think of that verse.
Yeah.
There is nothing that does not celebrate his praise.
But you do not understand their praise.
It's like a challenge to us.
A challenge to wake up.
To wake up and listen to the symphony. It speaks to our deepest longings,
Yeah.
Our need for connection, for meaning.
For purpose.
It reminds us that we're part of something bigger.
We're not alone.
We're not alone, right?
Yeah.
We're part of this web of creation.
So it's not just about knowledge, right?
It's about changing our perspective.
It's about, seeing the world.
With new eyes.
Yeah, with new eyes.
Recognizing that divine presence everywhere.
Yeah, and it's like we're going from seeing the world as this random
collection of things to seeing it as this, meticulously crafted masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
It's like a love letter.
Oh, wow.
This has been amazing.
We've seen how Nursi views this creations book.
All those messages.
God's power, wisdom, care.
And we saw how these ideas are in other faiths, too.
Christian thinkers, too.
Yeah, that call to listen to creation.
But there's one more thing we need to talk about.
We haven't talked about humanity's role in all of this yet.
What are we supposed to do with these messages?
Yeah, Nursi doesn't just see us as passive observers. He thinks we have a part to play.
All right, well, we'll have to dive into that next time.
Sounds good.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been looking at how we can read the world around us, like a book filled with these messages from God, the cosmos, Earth, all that.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
But now we're at that final piece, humanity.
Right, humanity's role in all of this.
Yeah, it's one thing to see these messages in nature, right?
Right.
But what do we do with them? What's the point?
Right, are we supposed to just admire them?
Or does he think we have a more active role?
He definitely sees us as more than just, passive observers.
Okay.
He uses this really interesting analogy,
Okay.
comparing prophets to guides who help us move from an animal to an angelic state.
So they help us elevate our understanding, connect with God.
Yeah, through their teachings, through their example.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he goes on to highlight the role of saints and scholars, too.
Those who carry the wisdom.
Yeah, across generations.
They help us make sense of the book.
Help us apply the lessons.
It's like we're not meant to do this alone.
Right, we have this legacy of knowledge that's been passed down to help us.
It's like we're all part of this big community.
Exactly, drawing on the wisdom of those who came before us.
It's cool to see how this connects to the Christian idea of tradition, too.
Yeah, rule the church.
We're all looking at the same book, right? Maybe interpreting some parts differently.
But still drawing inspiration from it.
Yeah, and Nursi really valued that shared exploration.
He did, yeah. He saw it as a vital part of our journey to God.
Okay, so we have the prophets, we have the scholars, but
what about us?
Where do we fit in?
Right, what's our personal responsibility?
Yeah, as individuals.
This is where tafakkur comes back in.
Okay.
It's not just about watching nature, right?
Right, we have to engage.
Engage, reflect.
Ask questions.
Yeah, ask, what is God trying to tell me?
So it's a personal conversation.
Exactly.
A dialogue with the divine.
That's a really cool way to think about it. And this dialogue can take so many different forms,
Yeah, like what?
Like going for a walk and paying attention to the details. Or studying scientific discovery.
Or just looking at the stars.
Yeah, anything that allows you to connect.
Yes. Sit in your backyard.
Yeah, exactly, and just be present.
Those little moments, those quiet moments.
They can be so powerful.
Yeah,
They allow us to really tune in.
to that frequency.
Yeah, to those whispers.
It makes you think of that verse again.
The one about praise.
Yeah. There is nothing that does not celebrate his praise.
But you do not understand their praise.
It's like we're starting to understand
We're learning the language.
the language, yeah, the symphony,
And as we get more fluent, we
Yeah.
start to see the world differently.
with new eyes.
We see that divine presence everywhere.
Yeah, it's a huge shift in perspective.
It is. It really is.
We go from seeing the world as this Randall,
Small.
yeah, to seeing it as
What's
this,
your piece?
like a love letter from God.
Exactly.
Wow, this has been really eye-opening.
It's been great.
We see Nursi's perspective.
On this creations book.
Yeah, God's power, wisdom, care,
We've seen these ideas in other faiths.
that call to listen to creation.
And it's really just the beginning.
Yeah, it's up to us to continue the exploration,
As you go about your day, remember to listen.
to really pay attention
To those whispers, to those messages.
to the book of creation.
What chapter will you open today?